Good afternoon, tribe. Excuse me. Ooh, how you doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is gonna be Basketball Wives. Your Basketball Wives review. I'll put the season and episode in the description because I don't have it in front of me. But it was last night's episode. So look, we start the episode off. We see Evelyn and Shawnee. They're shopping. They're in the baby store where all the clothes are too small for Evelyn's baby. And she talking about how big he's getting and how his personality is developing and things of that nature. So then Shawnee starts talking about how the two boys, Sharif is getting ready to start USC. I believe he's going to USC, and how Sharif and what's her other son's name? Is it Miles? But the two of them want to get a house together and live together, and how she's like, I'm not really feeling it because I feel like they're gonna be doing more partying than really paying attention to their books. And Sharif is on, not only is Sharif there on scholarship, but just he's gonna be a freshman and he really needs to focus. So she was like, I don't know how I'm really feeling it. And then they talk a little bit about groupies, like teenage groupies, and how they keeping their boys safe and out of trouble. And that's real. It's real talk. I mean, you know, regardless, it's social media and stuff has put things out there and made things too accessible and made things too easy anyway. But then you add in the fact that you have a famous father and they know you got money. I'm sure it's all kinds of stuff going on in his DMs. You know what I mean? And I don't want to put it all on the girls because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, these girls are just hoes or opportunists or whatever. But at the end of the day, and the funny thing is, like, Evelyn talking about some, yeah, social media has changed the game. Well, what was the game when you was out there dating the NFL, the NBA, and the baseball league? How you do it? How you do it before social media? I'm just wondering. I always wondered about. I'm getting off topic. Anyway, so because I was about to go way left, but anyway, so they were just having a really good conversation. I'm gonna come back to the whole Sharif and his brother getting a house. I'm gonna come back to that in a minute because I got opinions, but I'll come back to that. So then we see Kristen and Christy and Malaysia. Kristen comes in later. And they're talking, and Malaysia's saying how she had the conversation with her boys, and it was really hard, and her brother's birthday has come up, and so she's dealing with that, and she's saying that, you know, she really wants to try to deal with her phobia of the police, and so she invited a cop by the name of Officer Norman, who I followed Officer Norman on social media. I started following him during the whole Ferguson piece because I'm not even sure how I kind of came across him, but I know that I started following him because he was given some great accolades because of his community policing. This is a white cop whose beat is in a predominantly black neighborhood, and he has made it his business to really go out and get to know the community, get to know these people, and so that they're not, number one, they're not afraid of the police. Number two, they feel comfortable, talking to him and interacting with him. And his thing was saying, like, basically to try to overcome a lot of this police brutality, police officers have to do a better job of getting to know the communities that they're in. And so I started following him then. So I've been following him ever since then. He engaged to a sister, or they might have already gotten married by now, but I know that he's engaged to a sister, and he seems legit. Like, he seemed like he was doing this long before the cameras, long before, like he was brought to people's attention because he was already doing this. And so anyway, Malaysia, reached out to him. She was like, she made it sound bad because she was like, I slid into his DMs and was like, yo, let's hook up. I'm pretty certain she didn't do that because I'm pretty certain she didn't want him to think she was trying to get with him. But neither here nor there. She's going to talk to him to try to help her deal with her phobia of the police. Which, I definitely understand that being a traumatic situation you're dealing with. I can't imagine being a family member of someone who died that way. Being murdered by the police doing something as simple as putting your hand in your pocket. And her thing was, why do they have to shoot to kill? Like, I get it that they do a dangerous job, but why shoot to kill? And that's a question I've always asked. Like, I get it that police officers are trained to shoot to kill, and I understand they have a dangerous job. Every time they pull somebody over, they don't know what they're walking into. I get that. well, why shoot to, like, her brother was shot in the head. You couldn't have shot his arm, his leg. Like, I just, anyway, again, I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. So Christy says, look, she was like, I support you. I'm here for you. I think that's a great idea. I think that's something, that you should be able to do. And I'm not sure what his Instagram name is, but you can look him up. But you can, I'm sure he's hashtagged and stuff. But he's a really good guy. He really seems like a really good guy. So then we see Cece, Kristen, Christy, and Malaysia. They meet up. Christy brings them all together. They're like like one of those little ale places where you can taste the different types of beer. And of course, all of them are like, we hate beer. Beer tastes like piss. They having that whole conversation. And Christy was like, see, that's why I ain't tell y'all we was coming, because I know y'all wouldn't come. But she's talking about, so the topic comes up. Because Cece's like, I haven't seen seen y'all in a while. She was like, yeah. Christy was like, well, you weren't at my play. And she said, yeah, well, that was the night of my birthday dinner. So Kristen gonna have the fuck y'all. This scene pissed me off so bad. How you gonna have the nerve with a straight face to turn to Cece and talk about something? Well, where was my invitation? Bitch, with Jennifer. That's where your invitation was. With Jennifer. Ask Jennifer where your invitation was. Since that's your new best friend. Since we only surface friends. And Cece, now, my problem with Cece is you said it in your confessional, but you didn't say it to her, which is this whole conversation started because Kristen said, you need to be more upfront with people, and you need to come at people like direct and stop saying shit on the back end and tell them to their face. And you're doing the same thing even with Kristen. Kristen has said to you, well, where was my invitation? You should, and that's what you said in your confessional is what you should have said to Kristen. It was like, well, I thought we was only surface friends, and surface friends don't come to birthday parties. Like, those are people that just, posted on Facebook when they, that happy birthday message you get on Facebook from all the people you follow on Facebook, and it just popped up in their morning little Facebook message, just today is so-and-so's birthday. That's who you are. You are not the person that gets to come to my birthday dinner. She's like, well, for the last 4 years, I've been invited. Cece just lying. Because instead of Cece being honest, Cece came up with all these other excuses and reasons. And again, she was right. Cece, you should have just been upfront about that shit. But neither here nor there. Krista got her little feelings hurt because she didn't come to the birthday party. And they tried to... I feel like they was being messy, but not outright messy. Because they were like, oh, so... Kristen, it was just because like I said, Cece came up with all these lies first, and instead of just come right out and telling her, she came up with, well, it was just a couple of couples having dinner. Well, I didn't really plan it. Well, just come right out and say, I ain't invite you because I ain't want you there. Real easy. Anyway. Because I feel like Kristen pulled first blood with that whole Jennifer shit and bringing her to the little sit down and letting Jennifer make all them little nasty comments. So, Cece, I feel like you well within your rights to say your little 2 cents. But anyway, I'm done. Done with that. So, Kristen starts talking about how, she's like, well, so Christy tells them that she wants to do a PSA about police brutality, and she wants to bring the kids in because she was like, the kids really need to be a part of this, and so she was like, I want everybody to do it. She's like, I've gotten a production company, like it's going to be real professional, and she was like, okay, everybody was like, yeah, I'm down, I'll be there. Sounds like a good idea. So then Kristen is going to say, well, are you going to invite Jennifer? Everybody got quiet. Kristen said, well, I feel like Jennifer is on this island by herself and nobody, wants to visit her but me. Everybody was like, that's about right. Nobody wants to visit her but you. That's about right. And so Kristen is just like, I just don't understand. Like, she was like, I don't get it. Why everybody just, why is everybody just so mean and mad at Jennifer? Like, what did Jennifer do that was so different than what Tammy did? Nobody's mad at Tammy. And I'll get to that. But anyway, so yeah. So Malaysia gets irritated. She's like, look, I can't be fake. And she gets up and leaves. But my thing is, it's not like Jennifer was at the table, Malaysia. You ain't had to get up and cut lunch short. But it just seems like every time Jennifer's name comes up, Malaysia gets irritated. And she just has to exit stage left. But whatever. Then we see what happened next. they actually filmed the PSA. We see them filming it, and it does look like it's done professionally. It looks like everybody's there. Tammy's there, everybody's there, and they say their little piece. And in the green room, we see OG and Kristen actually getting along, and Christy was like, "Wait a minute, hold up, what did I miss? Like, since when are y'all cool?" And they explained that at the night of her play, Kristen was really there for her when she was having a moment about her brother, and how they were able to work things out, talk it out, and become girlfriends. And Jackie was like, "Well, shit, if y'all can work things out, I have faith. I have faith that the rest of us can come together and work out our differences, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy." Their situation wasn't nowhere near this deep. Tammy and Shawnee, they meet up. And Tammy is telling Shawnee about her second thoughts on marriage and getting the ring or whatever. Now, she tells Shawnee something totally different than what she said last week about what she told Jackie. I keep calling her Christy, and I'm meaning Jackie, y'all. Jackie, Christy, y'all get it. But she told Jackie that she wasn't sure because of the whole kids thing. She tells Shawnee, well, she doesn't want to do it because they've been together so long, and she just doesn't want things to change between them, and she doesn't want, she just doesn't want the engagement to mess up their relationship. That's two different things, Tammy. See, last week, Tammy, I kind of had a little sympathy for you, even though somebody in my comments brought something to my attention, and I was like, you know what, I see it from that point of view too. But it kind of, now you're talking some dumb shit. And Shawnee was like, "Look, go ahead and accept the ring. Go ahead and get engaged." And she was like, "Hell, you can parlay the engagement to see if things change. Like, you can drag the engagement out," which is true. I know people who've been engaged for 10 years, and I'm just like, well, what the fuck? But you can drag the engagement out. Like, there's no rule that says you get engaged, you got to get married next week. So drag the engagement out. So that scene was whatever. Then we see Malaysia and Christy meeting up with Officer Norman. Now, her immediate response was to break down. I couldn't tell if she was crying or laughing, because it sounded like she was laughing, and I don't know if it was like that nervous giggle laugh, or she couldn't quite, I'm not going to go there. But she reacted when she saw him. And my thing was, now, had he been in his uniform, I could truly, truly understand that reaction if you are traumatized by police officers. But the man was in a suit. That could have been any dude walking up the street. Like, my thing is, you pass people all the time that are in civilian clothes that could be police officers. So had you not known he was a cop, I don't know. Again, I'm not questioning her trauma at all. I believe her trauma is real. I just didn't understand that reaction. But she said that because he wanted to hug her, and she was like, "Nah, I can't. I'm just not ready for that." She said, "I feel like I'm betraying my brother." I could understand that. That every time she has a positive interaction with a police officer, she feels like it's a betrayal to her brother. And I understand that. And I think that the biggest thing we had, and he was good. He didn't force himself on her. When she walked away, when he first came up to her and tried to, I don't know if he tried to shake her hand or hug her at first, but she walked away from him and she was crying or whatever. He didn't chase after her. He let Christy go and talk to her, and they actually had a really good conversation. And he said the same thing I've already said about, you just got to go into the community. He was like, we have to do a better job of getting to know the communities we serve. He was like, what happened to your brother was tragic. But had those police officers had a relationship with your brother and knew who your brother was, that never would have happened. And that's valid. But that doesn't always eliminate the chance interactions. But I do think that police officers need to. I think there's a responsibility on both sides. No one deserves to get murdered. That's not what I'm saying. But I also feel like there are things where you could do to not antagonize a situation. And then vice versa. Police officers don't have to always be assholes just because they can be assholes. And I've dealt with some. I think we all have stories of dealing with police officers who are assholes just because they can be assholes. But I've also had more, if I'm going to be honest, I've had more positive interactions with police officers than I've had negative. Now, I know that there's some people who can't say that. I know there's some people who've had very negative situations with police officers, and ain't nothing positive ever come out of it. I get that. That's not my experience. But neither here nor there. They had a really good conversation, and by the end of it, she did hug him. And, I think it's a good start for her. Like, that was one situation and one experience. It's a good start. So, anyway, I've talked about that long enough. Drop it in them comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Am I tripping? Then we see Shawnee with her sons. They then took her to a mattress store, and she was like, why are we looking at mattresses? And they do this whole, it was a weird scene, because it seemed so contrived and, like, not authentic. Like, it just seemed so, I don't know. But they were just talking about how they're going to get her to sign this contract for them to buy, now, not rent, buy a house for them to live in. Now, mind you, the house that they already have is 10 minutes from his campus, according, or 10 miles. Maybe it was 10 miles from the campus. But either way, 10 miles translates to 10 minutes the way I drive. And, they want to get a house, and they talking about, like, Sharif was like, look, I'm just here to play basketball. He handling the business, like her other son, and it was weird. It was just a really weird scene. But my 2 cents on it is this: money or not, like, it's great that y'all have the money and you have the means to be able to do this for him that the average person doesn't have, because, like, getting a house was not an option when I went to college. Like, you better get your ass in that dorm room and hope you don't have a crazy roommate, which I did, but that's another story for another day. All of this buying a house, renting a house, like, these were not even options. And they're going to want a house along the same lines of what they've become accustomed to. And then Cherie said something about, well, I don't want to be living at home with my mama. And she was like, well, I can understand that. Why? Why can you understand that? He is in college. He is a college student. That's what college students do. They live at home with their parents. When they not in school, they come home for the summer, Christmas break, spring break, and you stay with your parents. Unless you unless you out traveling somewhere. What are you talking about, Shawnee? That don't even make no sense. That you would even consider this shit. He better go take his ass to the damn athletic dorm and go stay on campus with the rest of them basketball players, because he's already going to stand out. Y'all talk about how, so much pressure on him being Shaquille O'Neal's son. You're adding to it by allowing him to be different and to stand out. The average freshman ain't got no house off campus. Maybe by late sophomore year or junior year you move off the yard, but you living on campus. If she don't drop that boy off at a damn dorm and not only that, but you have to. There's a social part of college that you miss when you are not in dorms. There's just a whole social level. Anybody out there who's been to college, y'all drop it in the comments and let me know. When I lived on campus for 2.5 years. I moved off campus second semester of my junior year. So there were things at that point I had established friends and relationships and stuff, but there were things that I missed that had I not lived on campus, I would not have established certain things. So anyway, I just think let that boy live on campus. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Now, she probably going to go ahead and get this damn house and let him live off campus because she can. Only because she can. Because if you didn't have the money, wouldn't nobody even be thinking like this? And those arguments that they were giving her are just dumb. Anyway. My 2 cents. Finally. We have Jackie done had a rap party. Basically is what it is. She's going to show the PSA at the party. And she invited a bunch of people. And of course all the girls are there. She invited all the girls, including Jennifer, to come to the party or whatever. And I missed the scene, sorry. Kristen and Jennifer meet up. Who cares? But basically the purpose of this scene was for Jennifer to talk about all these receipts that she has and how people better just not get out of pocket, because if people want to show receipts and want to start telling, she was like, I got all kinds of text messages from where Tammy done said this about Shawnee and said that and said this and said that. So if people want to start pulling out receipts, I got receipts. So And then the other thing that came up was Kristen was like, I just don't understand. So they're at the rap party, and Kristen is saying, like, I don't understand the difference. Why is everybody mad at Jennifer, but nobody's mad at Tammy, when Tammy is the one that brought it to the group, and Tammy knew about it for like a year. So, like, why y'all not mad about it? Why is nobody mad at Tammy? And her thing was, I see where people could be mad at Jennifer, but I feel like people should be just as mad at Tammy, and I don't understand why nobody is. And Jennifer is the same way. Jennifer don't understand why nobody's mad at Tammy, when her thing was, it was dead, it was over with. Tammy was the one that brought it up, and if Tammy had never brought it up, nobody would ever know about it. You're missing the point. The point is that you did it. The point is that you were trying to create, and this is what Shawnee was trying to explain to Kristen at the party. She was like, here's the problem. The problem is, she said, Jennifer and Evelyn have been friends for 50 years. You got all kinds of secrets on Evelyn that don't include nobody but Evelyn. Why would you choose this particular secret / rumor to decide that you're going to expose, where you're going to include a bunch of people that don't have nothing to do with it? You're going to bring me into it and my family into it off of some get back shit that don't have nothing to do with me. She was like, I don't understand why she would do that. And so Kristen was just like, yeah, but Tammy brought it to the group. If Tammy had never brought it to the group, nobody would ever know. And she was like, you're missing the whole point. So then Jennifer shows up and Tammy shows up, and of course an argument ensues. And of course Jennifer starts, because Jennifer was like, I'm gonna bring my phone, it's in my old phone with my receipts, I'm bringing my receipts if they want to see it. So they get to arguing, and Jennifer starts talking about, well, I got messages that say this, that, and the other. And Tammy was like, well, look, pull them up, because I got my messages. So you pull up yours and I'm gonna pull up mine, and let's see how they match up, who's and what's. And Malaysia, of course, is upset, because Malaysia was like, you were trying to send me out to create problems. Like, you were using me as your little errand boy to go out and create these problems. And Jennifer was like, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. And see, now they getting into this semantics game. I said tell you, not send you. And I said, it don't matter at the end of the day. And then she was like, well, at the end of the day, you started this bullshit. And then it was something came up with Tammy where she was saying that, she said, well, Tammy, you never heard it before. Tammy was like, I had never heard it before you brought it to me. And she was like, are you serious? Like, that's a lie. You told me you had heard it before too. And now you're going to sit here and say you had never heard that before. Tammy was like, I ain't never heard that rumor before until you brought it to me. And she was like, well, Tammy, you told me you would never say anything. You told me you would never say anything about it. Tammy was like, you're right, I did. I said I would never say anything unless there was a credible reason for me to bring it up. So you're right. I said I wasn't going to say nothing. But that still doesn't negate the fact that you started this and you said it was true. And then she was trying to say, well, I never said it was true. I said I heard it. Tammy was like, no, you said it was true. You said that you knew for a fact that this happened and it was true. You ain't say nothing about a maybe. So they decide they're going to pull up their receipts. So, of course, Tammy go right to hers, because she done screenshot them. They right there in her photo. So she got hers. She like, bloop, bloop. All right, I'm waiting for you. So, Jennifer, pull up my receipts. I'm going to pull up my receipts. What day was that again? I can't find it. What day? March 26th. March 26th. Okay. I got my receipts right here. I'm going to pull them up. Oh. You know what? My messages don't go back that far. They only go to March 25th. Bitch. They miraculously stopped the day you need them. Now this phone that you've been talking about for 3 episodes, that you got all these receipts, and you gonna embarrass everybody because you got all these receipts that say all this stuff on it that's gonna clear your name and make everybody else look crazy. And then you miraculously can't find them. So as soon as you can't find them, then you want to change the argument. Then you want to start talking about, well, it don't even matter because that ain't what I said. And Tammy, you brought it up anyway. You should have never brought. Like, she wants to change the whole argument, because now you look real stupid. Because you done told Kristen, you done told Evelyn, who not there, by the way, she couldn't make it. You done told all these people you got all these receipts to bring up. And you got all these receipts that you going to prove yourself. And then when it's time to show and prove, you ain't got shit. You ain't got nothing in your phone. Then you looking real stupid in front of everybody. It was hilarious. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. So then she want to try to change the subject, and then her and Tammy start going at it. And Christy was like, look, my guests are starting to pay attention now. It's starting to look real, we starting to cause a scene. And, Christy was like, look, we're around folk that I ain't trying to get embarrassed in front of or embarrass nobody in front of. And so calm down. She trying to pull Tammy away. And then Jennifer was like, and I ain't going to be too many more bitches. Tammy was like, what? She was like, you done call me a bitch too. You done. Now Tammy did throw a couple of bitches her way. She did that. Okay, but you're just trying to deflect, because now you're talking about, oh, she done called me a bitch, she done called me out my name. So anyway, they get to arguing, and at first Tammy was going to walk away. Tammy was walking away, but Jennifer kept talking. And Evelyn was like, I see that Tammy's getting angry and getting upset, and, sort of like that old Tammy coming back. And we know that old Tammy will throw a punch, a drink, a kick, something. So that's where the episode ended, with them trying to pull Tammy away and the two of them arguing and getting loud and cussing each other out. But the text messages that Tammy had were very clear on everything that they said, that Tammy did not lie, that Tammy ain't make nothing up, that everything that came out before is valid. Again, my only argument was, Tammy, your only reason for bringing this shit up was to cause problems between her and Evelyn. That really was it. And Evelyn, for whatever reason, still don't seem to have a problem with Jennifer. So, but neither here nor there, Jennifer, you did it. Just admit it. Just like, it was a year ago, I did it. I was in a different place. I was pissed off. I was trying to cause some bullshit. I'm sorry. And all this would have probably been resolved had you just had that attitude. But you still want to put it off on other people, and you still don't want to admit you're part of it. Girl, bye. Anyway, that was this week's episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think in them comments. And the argument going to pick up next week. So we're going to see what happens, how this argument concludes itself next week, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Peace.